How are we all feeling today? Ready to learn on purpose? Yeah. Like most of us, I'm full of contradictions. My friends would describe me as down to earth, but also prone to asking big, unanswerable questions and willing to go deep and get philosophical. So while I try to be grounded and authentic, it's time for my final State of the Union address, and I've got a short time to share what I've learned with you. So buckle up, my beautiful buttercups. We're going to dig into some complexities. Our world is complicated. It's about being present and being curious, and this is how we transform our practice on purpose. As AACN president, I've traveled from Maine to Miami, from Kansas City to Chicago, and from Seattle to San Diego. You, the AACN members, have been the absolute highlight of my year. The stories you shared with me expanded my view of our profession. AACN represents nurses from all walks of life and perspectives, and today we come together in community. It's how we come together to lift each other up that impresses me most. This year, I witnessed multiple AACN chapters hosting student nurse ambassadors to build professional relationships and support successful entry into practice. And while the world has been described as increasingly polarized, and maybe it feels that way sometimes on social media, this has not been my own experience. Between conversations with you and countless rideshare drivers on my travels, I have experienced something different. For all our differences, we find more common ground when we actually speak to each other and discover that we exist along a continuum, no matter our individual perspectives. When we remember that we're part of something bigger, we find there's so much more that we can do together than we could do alone. In my experience, polarity works along a continuum, all things in balance, not in opposition. And for me, being on purpose is being curious about the other side of the story, about the nature of our polarities. For our most polarizing issues, there are sides, and most likely there are many, many perspectives along a complete spectrum, but there is a unifying path forward if we care enough about each other to find consensus. There's a sweet spot right there in the center where opposing gravitational lines cross, where we can come together. I practice as a clinical nurse educator at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle, a level 1 trauma center serving Washington, Alaska, Montana, and Idaho, with a mission to care for underserved populations in our community. And I've stayed there since I was a new nurse because I believe in that mission. But during COVID, watching so many of us show up despite fear and exhaustion, I started wondering, is it the mission that matters the most, or is it the individuals behind it, each with our own personal why? We need to feel valued as individuals to sustain the work and achieve the mission. And it is okay to put your own oxygen mask on first. A mission is nothing without the people. Individual intention, why we show up, and an organization's mission are on a continuum of service. Good intentions are not enough, and effective action will require collaboration. If organizational mission and personal intention are on opposite ends of the spectrum, then shared purpose is our relational sweet spot. It's only through shared purpose and relationships that we can harness our collective power. And living our shared purpose will always be more meaningful than a mission statement. A more authentic, inclusive conversation allows for a spectrum of experiences, and our ability to include other perspectives amplifies our impact. In a polarized world, advocacy sometimes looks like telling others what to do or the right way to do it. And that is very critical care nurse in its own way. But AACN strategic advocacy is effective because we're committed to building relationships and inviting others to the table. Through inquiry, we can understand alternative perspectives. So while having a strong voice is important, diplomacy with a balance of advocacy and inquiry is the true path to sustainable change through consensus building. Diplomacy is the relational strategy, our sweet spot for creating positive change. Our healthcare work environment was created for humans by humans. And while technology will continue to advance our practice in yet unimagined ways, our core nursing value for human dignity and relationships is something that we can continue to leverage for a better future. As nurses, we constantly balance our desire to maintain relationships and our pursuit of shared knowledge. It can make us hesitate to speak up when there's a lack of psychological safety on the team. In a recent study co-sponsored by AACN of over 5,000 clinicians, only 32% of us report speaking up in crucial moments. I know there were times when I could have spoken up and didn't, and times when I did, but I could have done so in a better way that was more sensitive to my teammates' perspectives. I keep coming back and trying to get the balance right. Patients need us to collaborate and use our shared knowledge for effective decision-making. This is what it means to work on a team with purpose, to care for others, and to walk them through the process of illness, recovery, through the beginnings and endings of life. In every shift work, in every encounter, we commit to practicing the art of nursing. It's a balance we each hold daily, and some days are harder than others. It's easy to say that we don't like polarity, and it's more difficult yet essential that we respond with diplomacy and purpose, on purpose. When we truly achieve consensus, everyone wins. And sustainable growth is nurtured by our collaboration. And so the world changes. Taking part in something bigger than yourself is both humbling and inspiring. The legend goes that the American Association of Critical Care Nurses, the largest specialty nursing organization in the world, yes, right? Our organization started as a conversation among nurses at a kitchen table. In 1969, AACN was founded for nurses, by nurses, with only 150 members, because we needed a community and a source of specialty knowledge and standards. And we have grown. More than 50 years later, with over 135,000 acute, progressive, and critical care nurse members, our strength is in our numbers and our diversity. We are a community of exceptional nurses. How empowering does it feel to be here with 6,000 other nurses today? We're here because nurses before us invested in an idea, a glimmer that grew into a spark, and then a flame through collaboration and incremental growth over decades. Each of us is an essential part of this community, and we have the power to shift the direction of our profession. Here's another story of incremental change. In the early aughts, a small group of AACN leaders met to discuss strategies to address the looming nursing shortage. Sound familiar? Yeah, we just keep doing it again. There was growing evidence that unhealthy work environments contribute to ineffective delivery of care and conflict and stress among healthcare workers. So getting to the root cause of why nurses stay in or leave the profession got us to the idea of focusing on the work environment. In response, the evidence-based AACN standards for a healthy work environment were first published in 2005. And the standards include skilled communication, true collaboration, effective decision-making, appropriate staffing, meaningful recognition, and authentic leadership. This is the healthy environment where nurses can find purpose in our practice and where patients receive the care that they need. It was nearly a decade from idea inception to the development of a survey tool to measure change. And now, 20 years later, the published Healthy Work Environment Standards serve as the foundation for countless other studies and publications. What was once just an idea is beginning to coalesce into the mountain of evidence required to support systemic change. And this gives fuel to my persistence. It isn't necessarily about seeing instant results, but about investing in values that you believe in on purpose to drive a collective incremental shift that slowly builds momentum until it's a movement. The past 5 years have seen the release of AACN standards for appropriate staffing in adult critical care, progressive care, and now pediatric critical care. AACN's collaborative partnerships have led to the Joint Commission to identify staffing as a national performance goal. And that's worth repeating. It's the first time staffing has been incorporated so prominently by a healthcare regulator. The results of our 6th national research study on the health of the work environment will be presented at this conference. AACN has organized a Healthy Work Environment National Collaborative with 135 interdisciplinary hospital-based teams working to implement the standards. And in collaboration with funding partners like Johnson & Johnson, AACN has launched 80 clinical scene investigator teams in 2025, another 80 in 2026, and 80 more planned for this year. These teams are focused on improving the health of their work environments as the lever to achieving better outcomes for patients, nurses, and organizations. My own early leadership lessons on the power of collective action came from my experience as a bedside nurse in the AACN CSI Academy. I was empowered to lead a practice improvement project on my own unit. As a CSI nurse, I embraced shared leadership principles, and these lessons have been my bedrock as the first nurse to become AACN president. The power of CSI is the power of the front line. It's having project leaders embedded in the culture. It's about collective, grassroots, incremental change. From one stone cast in the water, the ripples grow. What we do today has the potential to create ripples far into the future. Each action, no matter how small, matters. It is to act on purpose. Each day I rise with purpose. My dog's wet kisses, my spouse making coffee. Most mornings are built around simple comforts that are the foundation of my self-care. Optimism is easy when things are simple. Yet no matter my positive intent, the complex hospital environment can overtake me like an ocean storm. Everything is urgent, the pace, the demands, and most nurses, we finish our day by listing everything we haven't accomplished. It's difficult to find joy and satisfaction in the middle of a storm. And when lives are on the line, it's easy to live in fear of not being enough. Our moments of public recognition are often too far and few between, or too few and far between to be our only source of resilience. Part of my personal survival strategy includes finding glimmers of joy to celebrate in the middle of routine chaos. During the early months of the pandemic shutdown, I was serving as one of the first COVID operations nurses in my hospital, an innovative rapid response role to triage operational and clinical care issues. Despite my training and dedication, teaching nurses to reuse their masks was not something I was fully prepared for. And while I absolutely made use of the employee emergency services and professional counseling, it was my peer nurses who walked with me and offered me understanding when I needed it most. At the end of each day, I would take long walks with my dog to decompress. Seeing spring flowers bloom was familiar and grounding. Those conversations of mutual support and long walks were the moments of joy that got me through. It's about the small things, especially when things get hard. To create more opportunities for joy, we can be intentional about engaging in learning, being a champion of specialty skills and knowledge, and supporting our colleagues to do the same. It's not about toxic positivity or being blind to the problems that we face. Because of what I have learned about the power of incremental change, I can't help but believe that every contribution matters. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Glimmers of joy. Seeing how we're connected and seeing glimmers of positive change becomes a life skill. AACN and Healthy Work Environments both started as a glimmer of an idea. It's through sharing our passion that transformation occurs. As nurses, our professional integrity and our commitment to care create a bond of trust between us and our community. Nurses have ranked the #1 most trusted and ethical profession for 24 consecutive years, according to Gallup polling. And what I find so fantastically powerful about this is that this trust is built one relationship at a time. Those are individuals being surveyed who trust nurses because of their lived experience. Trust in nurses is something that we built without ever planning it or organizing it. This trust is built on relationships. Individual caring relationships and experiences, each of us bringing our unique gifts to our practice. Each flower I collected represents a nurse who supported me on my continual journey of growth. I couldn't do it without you. I have such gratitude for all the nurses who've so positively impacted my own life. If it wasn't for Pat, I might not have had the courage to take my CCRN exam. And I follow in the footsteps of Debbie, who's walked this path before me with grace and humility that I aspire to emulate. Thank you, Terry and Jennifer, my biggest cheerleaders. Tonka and Sarah, I can't wait to see what comes next. For Olena, who tells me stories about the nurses working to save lives in Ukraine, whether the power is on or off. For Ali, an Iranian-American nurse who helps me understand what it means to feel the pull of many identities. And in memory of Alex, a nurse who asked the question, "Are you okay?" Inclusion of diverse perspectives is key to a holistic understanding of what it means to be a professional nurse and what it means to be human and to belong. I look at what we've accomplished as a profession and as an organization over the past several decades, and I believe that what we do today is part of a powerful transformative shift. Follow the path. Be present and be curious to transform our practice. To inspire a shift, we must allow space and be intentional for daily joy. Imagine what we will do together when we act on purpose.